And salutations, I'm Gil.
And I'm Gil, and this is Strategic Prepper.
All right, welcome. Here we are back again at Gil's new homestead location. And before we get into today's topic, we got a good topic today. In fact, let me tell you what it is. 8 reasons that preppers will fail during SHTF. Okay, so you're going to want to listen to all 8 of these. It's really going to give us some good insight as to what we need to focus on as far as our development so that one of these doesn't trip us up. So before we get into all this,
click the like and subscribe button, and then make sure you hit that bell icon too so you get notified.
Right, also share with friends.
Oh yeah, so we got a store, let me think, strategic-prepper.com. We've got, what do we have in the store?
We have some morale badges, and guess what?
Yeah,
I got a new badge for you.
Oh, nice. Nice, I like the flat dark earth.
Yeah, earth tones. And so we've got those at our website. So we can only continue to do this with the continued support from you guys. Some of you have given us some support. We really appreciate that. That really helps us to develop these videos and to do the research and take the time to do this for you. So thank you. So in the description box, we've got several different ways that you can support us. Merchandise is one. Joining us on Patreon is another. In fact, on Patreon, we mentioned this in our last video. On Patreon, we're going to be starting a Preppers Book of the Month Club in November. And so you're really going to want to be a part of that. What we're going to be doing is taking a book, not those novels or anything. We're talking technical knowledge, things that will help us become better, more well-rounded, preparedness-minded people. And we're going to hit a variety of different topics. And so the basic format is we're going to pick a book for the month, and then every week we're going to take a section of the book and we're going to have a discussion. The exact format, what I want to do is get to a live stream. Have to figure out how to do that on Patreon. But it may be that the first couple of sessions or first couple of months that we just film it and post it. You know, just you and me, we may have to do that. So we're going to work on the technical aspect. We do want to do the live stream on that. We're not sure it's going to be like every Monday or every Tuesday. Leave us a comment on if you have a preference. And we haven't decided yet, but we'll decide by November. So that's a couple of different ways that you can support us. Like I said, in the description section, there are multiple different ways. And all right, today's topic. This is what?
This is a fun one.
This is a fun one. Go ahead. What's the title?
8 reasons preppers will fail in SHTF.
Yes. 8 reasons they will fail.
Yeah, and everyone loves doing these videos too.
Yes, well, because you know what? We all look around. I can guarantee you preppers will fail during SHTF.
Yeah.
You know what I can guarantee you?
What?
COVID.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
How many well-established preppers were not ready for COVID?
I was surprised, actually. People were posting videos, 5 things that I didn't have, or people in the groups, you know.
You know what?
People laugh.
What would it be for us? The 0 things that we didn't have for COVID.
It didn't cause any problems.
The 0 mistakes that we made. It's not bragging. It's a well-rounded system.
Yeah, we didn't have any big gap. It was just I kept watching these videos and I was like, no, I had that. I already thought about that.
And I got news for you. Even with the lockdown and all this that happened last year, COVID wasn't that big of a deal when it comes to SHTF. I mean, you look at what other countries have gone through at different times. I mean, I was talking with your mother about this just last night about the collapse of the Soviet Union and the food riots in the cities. And out in the country, people had food and it was rotting.
Yeah.
But the government collapsed. I mean, I don't know if any of you guys remember. Let me know if you remember that. Food riots. Venezuelans starving and fleeing to Colombia and other countries and just selling themselves so that they can have something to eat. This stuff happens when everyone talks about the Weimar Republic in Germany. these things happen, and people assume that it can't happen to us because we are wherever we are. We're in America, we're in Canada, we're in the UK, we're immune. We're not immune. And I think that, well, the reason we're all here is because we think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right? Whether it's an EMP, whether it is a super pandemic or whatever, the details for this discussion don't really matter. So, what would be the number one, the first reason? So we've got them listed here. 8 reasons preppers will fail. What's one of the reasons?
Yeah, so I'll put a poor understanding of the developing pre-event situation. So, yeah, because as things happen, whether it's COVID or things that happen politically, and people interject and give their opinion, I think a lot of people don't have a good understanding of what's going on, or if you're not able to see things develop and to see ahead and to think, okay, the next, like a COVID, right? People, even the prepping community, were looking at what the situation is now, and they weren't able. We're doing home improvements. Have you guys heard that? Yeah, they weren't able to see what are things that look like a month, 2 months ahead of time. So for us,
well, and if I can interject, not just look to see what things could be like. So many people, including those in our community, our prepping community, can't anticipate the impact of those things. So, for example, I remember back in January, yes, you and I talked about this. Mm-hmm. And what was it that you told me? Or I told you, we both told each other. That's a rhetorical question. Yeah. I'm going to lead into, all right? Dang, if this thing becomes big, everyone's going to want masks.
Yeah.
Make sure we get masks.
Yep.
And, well, we already got masks. All right, well, let's make sure we have enough masks. Yep. Make sure we have enough gloves and sanitizer.
Tyvek suits.
And the sanitizing stuff. And this was January.
And other countries had speculated locking people down for like a month. They were not the lockdowns we hit, but initially some of the doctors were speculating that it might be so bad that people would not leave their house for a month at all. And so,
but we had maybe I don't. Were they in January? Were they speculating that?
I'd say that was probably like early February.
Yeah, I would think that. I'm thinking mid-January.
But even what we were talking, we had run through that. I don't know, a month and a half before anyone in the U.S. really started talking about it.
So how about today? Today's what, October 1 or 2? 2? October 2, right? That we're filming this. So by the time you guys get this, it'll be a couple of weeks later. I mean, you look around and the government is spending like there's no tomorrow, and they're working on this 1-point-something trillion dollar reconciliation, plus another 3-point-something trillion. And, you know, that type of, what did the senator from West Virginia call it? Fiscal insanity.
Yeah.
Right? Well, it is a fiscal insanity, and yet this insanity has seemed to capture a whole lot of politicians. And as preppers, we look at things like this, and some things pass and some things don't pass. But the idea that our political leaders believe that there's no limit to spending, and they've actually said this, should tell us, I need to make sure I have plans for hyperinflation, and inflation right now is as bad as it's been for decades.
Well, and you got the part of that bill is they want the IRS to direct to be notified anytime you have a transaction over $600. They want to tax your road mileage. They want to tax unrealized gains, which we talked about this early in the year when
they want access to our bank accounts.
They want control over that. And if you look at our video we did early in the year about what we think that the near-term risks are.
It's right here.
That was one of them, and part of it also is at some point the government is probably going to seize control over people's personal finances. They're getting more and more control of 401ks and all that. And so we said that a big part of that is got to get out of debt, which he succeeded. I'm almost there. And we talked about the homestead and all, but yeah, being able to see, and some of the stuff we've been seeing for years, but understanding how things are happening, whether it's the short term, like before the pandemic, or long term, how things are going to shape out for the next 5 years. I feel like most people don't really at least what I see in videos and all, they don't really have a decent understanding. And the reason I think I do is just the last like 5 years I've been writing more often than not.
So you test ideas on the extremes, right? So we talk about these things going bad and understanding the pre-event situation. And for me right now, I'm looking at the economics. You know, I've always been a guy focused on the economic aspect. So the ideal solution, it doesn't mean one size fits all for everybody. But the ideal solution is to be totally self-reliant. So let's test this. If you have severe hyperinflation or economic collapse or anything in that range, and you are on a piece of land and you have no debt, and you grow all of your food, remember we're talking extremes, testing, you have your own electricity, you have your own water, and you're really on the survival sense, you're self-sufficient.
Yeah.
And if this happens, how do you fare?
Yeah, you'd be fine.
You'd be fine. I mean, there's always one or two things we have to go get from someone, right? But you'd be fine. So anything less in our preparations, maybe we don't have all the electricity we need. All right, you have some of that, and that means that when the crap hits the fan, you've got 80%, 70% of your prep in place. That means that adjustment for you is smaller than it would be. So anticipating, oh my gosh, these people keep spending, right? As an example, these people keep spending like crazy. The government, and we've known for years that the government, because we're in the safety and health field, we know that the government hasn't taken care of pandemic response, and so just understanding the risks of these things and paying attention to the news and thinking months ahead or even a year or two ahead, and understanding how things are progression. But it's a progression. The spending is a great example. Loss of liberty. I mean, is from the Patriot Act, where they gave themselves more power, and now COVID, now they give themselves more power.
Well, the thing with that too,
it's going to keep going in this direction.
Yeah, the more you read or listen about governments in the past, I feel like easier it gets to figure out what's going to happen. It's all the same patterns, right? It's nothing new. So you see the last 100 years, every communist country has really had the same, they all do the same things when it comes to gaining control over population. So you see the pattern over and over and over and over. So when you see it happen here, you already know what's going to happen.
Right.
Plain as day. It's obvious what the government's trying to do. This is what they always do. But a lot of people who don't know that, to them it's all new. No, nothing's new. It's very clear what's going to happen. We're not, in that regard, we're not special. We're not different than any other population of people.
All right, so that's one. Poor understanding of the developing situation pre-event. Okay. Second one, unbalanced preps.
So this is a big one.
This is big. So, and again, we saw that in COVID. I'm prepared to bug out, but I have no preparation.
That blew my mind. That one guy, I wasn't prepared to bug in. How? You have all your stuff at your house. What do you mean? I don't know. But yeah,
I have all the tactical stuff. I've got the ballistic vest, and I've got 15 different weapons. I got them strapped to my arms. I'm Mr. Iron Man, and I can do all this stuff. But I can't survive more than 3 months on my food.
I just spend $5,000 on night vision, and you don't have any food stored up. You're probably spending your money in the wrong area.
Yeah. I haven't taken care of hygiene and things like that. Okay, I've got the food, I've got the tactical, and I go get sick because I haven't. I don't know how to take care of my bodily waste because it's going to happen. Unbalanced preps. You need to be able to think all the way through existence. Just live it. What does it take to live? Some of it is not sexy, but it's necessary. So unbalanced preps is...
Well, that's why we do our concentric circles. I mean, we expand everything together. you know, so whether it's we do the 3 week and 3 month and 6 month and all that.
Yeah, we explain that right here.
Yeah, everything, when I'm ready to jump to the next level, everything kind of happens. I do everything to the next level, and then alright, next level. Everything to that next level.
I move up on my higher calories, and then I bring everything else up.
But there shouldn't be a huge gap of something like what we're doing now, moving into this homestead property. Right now we're doing repairs and whatnot. But yeah, I think it was January where I had considered buying some night vision. I think I had a call with you about that. And so we did another assessment of where I'm at. There was just too many gaps in other areas, and then now. With everything else, decide, hey, that next big jump, it's got to be the property. And so once that and some other things happen, then everything will be to the next level, and then I start that cycle all over again.
Yeah, and part of balancing your preps is testing your preps to make sure they work.
Yeah.
So, and I'm kind of working on this video I haven't told you about yet, but testing some of my long-term food storage. And you know me, I like variety, right?
Yeah.
So I've got a bunch of different companies. And so my wife and I are living out of an RV on our prepping property as we're developing, working on some sheds right now. And you've seen some of the videos on where we're at. And so one of the things I did was tried to eat some of the long-term food some of the food that we've got stored.
The freeze-dry stuff?
This
or
more
the stuff you bag yourself?
No, not the stuff I bag myself. This is the stuff I bought, and some of it. Let's just say that one of the containers, I'm probably going to turn it into dog food or something. I don't know.
This is why before I buy a bunch, I'll buy one.
It's just
just
the one container.
I'll eat it. I'll buy one individual meal. I'll eat it.
Yeah, this is like a 3-day pack.
Man.
I bought a 3-day pack, and I tried so hard. I tried to eat it. I tried to tolerate it. I guess if I was really hungry, I would. Eat it, but my gosh, it takes so much willpower.
And you know, I hear people say that as a justification for not taking extra time to store things you like. Well, if you're starving, eat it. Yeah, okay, but we're trying to be prepared, and I'm taking the time anyway to do it. So why don't we prepare for success, right?
Yeah, and that's part of that. Having that balance is preparing for success in all areas.
Yeah, I'll try to store stuff I like.
You know, let me give you an example. You know, we're in that RV, and the hot water heater broke.
Yeah.
Repairman's not coming out for a month.
Oof.
He's scheduled for November 1. Well, guess what? We're having to heat hot water the old-fashioned way, and we're learning how to heat. We're learning how much it takes, and you know, how to do showers and all this. This is all part of SHTF prepping, right? We're practicing this stuff. Have we made adjustments? Yeah, we've made some adjustments, and we're getting pretty good. In fact, I now know how much water we need per person to include showers, and
nice.
I'm going to have to make an adjustment on our on-water video when we do next year's version, because
it's funny
because I have learned.
You and I had two different approaches to the water.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about this because I have learned from practical application how much water, because we have.
Bear right? I think he does 3 or something like that per day. I don't remember.
You have to wait till next year.
I do more than one, but he does a lot. He does a lot. Yeah.
Well, but here's the thing, because since we run all of our drinking water through the Berkey, right?
I gotta get one for here.
So we run all the drinking water through the Berkey, and then we've got the hot water heater broke, so we know how much water we need. As far as like our Gatorade, we don't buy Gatorade, we buy the powder, so we take the water and mix it up, and so everything we're drinking, we know how much, and you've seen the property.
Mm-hmm.
You know that my whole career since I left the Marine Corps, I've been white collar.
Mm-hmm.
Your mother and I are working our butts off every day to develop this land. You know what that means? Water consumption.
Oh yeah, it goes way up.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe how much water we're drinking. So you'll have to wait till that on water part 2 revised or whatever, and we're going to share from practical. But that's part of the balanced preps. Having unbalanced preps, untested preps. I'm putting that in the same category.
Yeah.
Is how preppers are going to fail. They've got the stuff, and they don't know how to use it.
Mm-hmm.
What's another one?
Long term, and so this is
Before
where
that, you jumped. Skip one.
Oh, yeah, have not had a team. I'm not talking to a couple guys at work about this actually, because they're kind of into this too. But Yeah, a lot of people want to go lone wolf and be alone, which is, I mean, it's understandable because it's hard to find good people, but you have to have a team. You have to have, if you can build a team beforehand, and then you got to have a plan for people that you know they're going to be there, your family members, friends, but they're not really into it as much as you are. So how do you integrate them? And how do you try to build a team of people who are actually serious too?
Great idea, because you know what? We have a video we just did on integrating the family and friends who are not preppers. So take a look at that video. Great discussion on that.
You need a lot of people.
As far as the groups, mutual assistant group, you don't have to have everyone move in on your property. I've mentioned, I think in the last video, that I have connected with the West Tennessee Mutual Assistance Group. If any of you guys are out there in Western Tennessee and you're interested, go to our website, strategic-prepper.com, and give me your email address. And I say it because it's more private, your information is more protected than just putting it in the comment section. So give me your email. I will connect you with somebody from the group, and you guys can have that conversation and see if that's for you. It's a great way to reach out. In fact, I've talked with them. We're going to film a couple of sessions and do some collaborative filming with them.
Cool.
In fact, I want to take the two leaders. I haven't asked them yet, so if you guys are watching this, you know this question's coming. I'm going to talk to them about what the process they went through on forming a group, and we're going to do a video, hopefully, just on how they've got a great process that I think will work on just how to form a group.
Very good.
And so, having a team is important. You can't do it all on your own. Mm-hmm. First, you can't have all the skills. Second, even if you have all the skills, you can't.
It takes man hours to do things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a great one. No long-term food plan. This is going to cause people to fail. And what I say here, there's a couple of aspects to this. One, Gil, I read and people talk about how much food they have stored.
Yeah.
I got news for you. If you've got unless you've got mountains of food stored, at some point your food is going to run out. What's the purpose of stored food? Let's talk about this for a second.
Yeah.
What is the purpose of your long-term food storage?
I mean, it's a couple things depending on what the situation is. It might be just a supplement. You know, if it's like hyperinflation, you supplement what you can get at the grocery store. But the big thing is to hold you over until you can produce your own. Really,
exactly.
Unless you're just preparing for some kind of short-term thing and that's all you want to do.
It's to tide you over.
Yeah.
So that you can get your systems to post-apocalyptic levels, so you can get your systems up, because most people, I don't know about most, but a lot of people develop systems and they want to expand. Right, once SHTF happens, once the apocalypse happens.
That's probably what we're going to do with my food.
And that's what the food storage is for, is to help tide you over.
Because that's probably what I'll do here is I'll figure out what I need, how much land I need to produce enough food. And I'll figure out my growing plan and I'll scale that down, because I don't want to be at full production all the time. And I'll probably be at a quarter production, whatever it is, and I'll keep the land ready. So I'll till it and plow it, whatever I got to do every year.
And just move the crops.
Yeah, and then if things get bad, I'll just go into full production or whatever. That's my plan too.
So that's why you have.
That takes time.
And that's why you have food storage.
Yeah,
is to tide you over.
You probably need a couple of years, a couple of growing seasons.
Sure, because you might have a famine or a rough start.
Yeah.
And so inadequate long-term food preps. Yeah. You don't have enough. You don't have enough to tide you over. Maybe you don't even have the plan to grow your own food, and so that's going to cause a lot of people. And I say this because I talk to people, I read people's comments on YouTube, Facebook, Patreon. You're not.
Well, you're not
going to go hunt. Yeah. I just want to reach through the internet and smack people who say this, and if it's any of you guys, hopefully it's a soft smack. you're not likely, most people are not going to be able to survive hunting and fishing.
But not only that, we've been through
Everyone's
this.
going to be doing
Yeah,
that.
we've been through this before,
The Great Depression.
and we almost exterminated certain like deer population. Deer right now are unusually plentiful. If you look at now, yeah, if you're in what's the state with the least dense population? Wyoming, Montana,
Sure.
one of those, right? Oh, yeah, if you're a guy, maybe you're not even watching this at your cabin. You're so remote, you had to go down 45 minutes to the local library just to watch our video. You know, if you're remote,
If you're doing that, and you're going 45 minutes to watch it, you let me know. I'm going to send you a free morale patch.
Shoot, you're probably already hunting and drying your own meat.
Exactly.
So, and that's the other thing too. Do you understand how to prepare and preserve the meat? A lot of people don't. Right? So you got to understand how to do all that. The fish, I think is a little better than the game thing, but they both can be overfished and hunted. They will be. They're not easy to get as it is. The bulk of your plant needs to be growing.
Another thing is
Growing food is how you do it.
wild edibles. I mean, that's great to be able to eat, but
Yeah, it's good to know how to do. You should know how to do that.
but you're not going to be able to live. There's so few calories, especially if you get a couple of tag-alongs.
Yeah, the caloric intake and then the nutrition that you need.
That's really challenging.
Yeah, there's a reason why societies have moved from the hunter-gatherer to agricultural.
Yes.
Agricultural societies are the ones that stick around. That's just the way it
Right.
is.
That's yeah.
So yeah, you got to become a gardener, to at least to some degree.
Yeah. So no long-term food plan. That is going to cause a number of people to fail. They think because they have supplies, they're golden, and they're going to find out that they're not golden. Their gold is going to rust. And
Yeah,
it's going
because they say, "Oh, I got a year's worth of food or 6 months," and then you ask them, "Okay, well, then what?" Assuming that we're all preparing for similar events, right? You might have someone who's only preparing for short-term things, and that's different.
well, and if they
I'm only preparing for.
and if they are preparing and they think 6 months is good enough, and they will fail if it gets to month 7.
Yeah, no, I think so.
And that's what this video is, things that cause people to fail. If it gets to month 7 and they're good for 6 months, they will fail too, just like everyone else.
Yeah, if it's long term, you're gonna have problems for sure.
I mean, because our belief, and we've talked about this, our belief is that the ultimate goal for prepping is to be completely self-reliant.
Yeah.
And some people will never get there. I don't know if I will ever get there, but it's the direction that I want to go.
I was watching a video about this actually not that long ago, but his point was no one's ever 100% self-sufficient, virtually. And his point was, you look at like our pioneers and all that back in the day. That's why they had general stores. Even then, where they made most of the stuff, they still had to get supplies sometimes.
Right.
But yeah, the goal is as much as I can.
Yeah.
As much as I can.
So, the next one. This is what you started jumping on.
Yeah.
Oh no,
The skills.
skills.
Yeah.
So people do not develop enough skills, broad enough skills. Again, I like to go back to the tactical community, tactical mindset, because there are so many people who spend on all the tactical, and we all know people in the prepping community that are like this, but they don't know how to dig a latrine. They wouldn't even know what a good latrine looks like. They don't know how to garden. They don't know basic medical first aid.
Even with the tactical, guys who buy the gear don't actually get professional
They don't
training,
use
so
it.
they don't even understand how to do that properly. That the thing they're supposed to be zoned in on, they're not even training. So there's that too.
Yeah, I know somebody, and we're not going to mention any indicator at all, but I know somebody, who's building an automatic weapon. I think it's automatic. Is it automatic?
No.
High rate of fire.
Yeah.
High rate of fire weapon, and doesn't know how to apply that in a firefight.
Yeah. You got whatever you're doing, you have to learn how to build a skill set.
You got
You
to.
have to. Like with the gardening, people, I've got my seed vault. Gardening is a science and an art, and it'll take a few years before you even start getting the hang of it, for sure. I think
The people that garden pretty consistently say it takes 3 good years to get your ground really going
Yeah.
so it really starts producing.
Yeah, and you'll like I've done 2 in the garden I had in the house in the suburbs. And there's a lot that I've learned in just those 2 years that now when I apply it, to my large scale, the real deal or whatever. There's already things that I've learned not to do or to do, and I'm sure in the next few years, being that this will be different, I'll learn some more. But yeah, you want to get all that learning out early, and especially right now. I can go on YouTube. I can go look up, I can go look up on videos, best ways to grow X, Y, or Z. You can't do that during that. You may not be able to do during SHTF, depending on what we're looking at. Maybe internet's still around.
Yeah, other things like medical. I mean, ideally, a group would have like nurse or doctor, right? But that's not a guarantee.
Mm-hmm.
And even so, that person may not be available. There's some basic medical skills that we all should have.
Yep.
What's that group? I just took a first aid class, not a first aid, a stop the bleed class.
Refuge Medical.
Refuge Medical. Great class. I've mentioned this, I think, in a different video. In fact, I'm going to put a link in the description down below. Refuge Medical. They really give you some hands-on training on tourniquet use, plugging wounds. Like I said, excellent training, good skill. You don't just walk away with knowledge; you practice it. I did in that class. The class was like 5 hours or so. I did a tourniquet 4 times, and I have since gone home and practiced it a couple times. And skills. I mean, we talk about the tactical. I bust on the tactical guys, but that's an important skill. In fact, that's coming up next, right? But you and I have been to several different tactical courses, in addition to Marine Corps Boot Camp, which is a good tactical course.
School.
But we've been to a tactical rifle in Lafayette and a tactical pistol up in Kentucky. Who's that does the tactical pistol? Tactical rifleman, really good class again.
Yeah.
So we'll put a link in the description here. So skills, but they got to be balanced, well-rounded. Can you cook on an open fire?
Yeah.
If all you can do is microwave.
Okay, so I won't say who this is. There's a person that I know. One time we were all they had a campfire in the back, and they were cooking with, I think it was a cast iron skillet, but they were trying to cook, was it burgers or meat? It was meat. Anyway, so they find this part of the fire with decent sized flames, and they stick this cast iron pot in the middle of the flames, and they're trying to grill their burgers, and of course it's getting burnt on the outside and raw on the inside. And I tried telling them, they didn't really want to listen. Okay. But yeah, just take some coals out and you just cook over the coals. You don't need to stick it in the fire. The coals are gonna be hot enough. Simple things like that.
Now, do you want to try to learn that when you can't go to the supermarket? No, you want to practice that. You can practice that in the backyard.
Yep.
Yeah.
I do it in this fire pit.
Yeah.
Fire ring.
So there's a lot of different skills, and skills don't happen overnight. But as preppers, we need to practice those skills. Remember, that's one of the 3 legs of capabilities: is gear, knowledge, and skills.
Yeah, and the skills will drive the gear too. So that's like with me going off roading and whatnot, building the skill set to drive my vehicle, but also it will drive how I modify the vehicle, or what I think I need for SHTF. And even with that, I've learned there's certain things I don't need as much as I thought, and other things I do need. Which I'll have separate videos on that, but yeah.
Next one, inadequate security plan and preparations.
Yeah.
Now, first, I'm going to let you talk on this a bit because I know you've got a strong passion on the security. But I want to answer the question that I've heard people. You've got the group that's real big on the tactical, but there's also more on the homesteading side. There's the people, I know my neighbors, I'm good to go, and there's this group that ignores the security side. So what do you need security for? Well, remember, we're talking total collapse, people are hungry and all that. You have to be concerned with people stealing. It could be thieves, it could be neighbors, it could be people in the local town. Somebody is not prepared, they're not ready. You have something that they want, and when they can't go get it elsewhere, you're at risk. And you just want to protect it. Some people say, well, they want to steal, they can, they want to take my stuff, they can have it. Well, their stuff that they may want to take might be you.
Yeah, it's not that simple.
Or your kids.
When you're dealing with bad guys, it's
like the Bible says, there's a time for war and a time for peace. Yeah. There's a time to protect yourself. And one of the ways that many preppers / homesteaders will fail in SHTF is because they did not take this aspect serious. Like I said, I talk a lot about those who are so focused on this. Now I'm talking to the other side, those who are not serious. So talk a little bit about what that looks like, and a good balanced security plan and preparation.
I mean, there's a couple things: equipment and skill.
Keeping in mind what the next item is too, right?
Oh yeah. So I guess we can go there first. The thieves, right? So security is different layers. So you should have security on your property, whether it's fences, gates, cameras, help, adequate lighting. If you have a big enough property, you might have to patrol the woods every once in a while. Otherwise, you get part of the woods that you never watch. People could be going through there, you don't know. As far as equipment goes, some kind of pistol and a long gun, I'd say at a minimum, AR-15 style, a sling and a light for me is required in all of them.
So you said the long rifle, but the answer to that would depend on where you're at, right?
Kind of.
If you're out in Montana and you've got you've got 600 acres, you got a long range, you may need a different gun.
Yeah,
if you're like me and you're in 5 acres of heavily wooded, where a shotgun might be better.
No, the long gun. The long gun, AR-15 style is as far as security, because you're talking tactical, like firefights and all that, whatever. Now, if you're up in the mountains, maybe you might go through the weight, but that's got its own
so I'm thinking AR-10.
I don't really care for using shotguns for tactical stuff. I have a tactical shotgun. It's really to give someone else. I think an AR is better almost anywhere you're at. But the specifics of the caliber and stuff like that might change, but you still want a good semi-automatic magazine-fed rifle. Sling and a light, because your sling is basically your holster. You got to be able to do something with the rifle. They should all have lights on them, and some kind of decent pistol. Nothing. Decent duty-rated pistol, I guess you could say. Some of the name brands. And then train with them. And then you might do other things. You might have a long-range setup. You might have like I said, I have a tactical shotgun too, but my go-to is the AR pistol.
See, I like the tactical shotgun for in the woods with some buckshot or slugs. Slugs will go right through the little branches.
That's a good point.
It's just a lot of mass going through.
Yeah, less deflection in the woods.
Right.
And 5.56 will get deflected by the tree.
And my tactical shotgun, I'm not going to run out of rounds. I can start shooting today.
Yeah.
I'll go through Sunday, still have
and then
shells in there.
Load bearing equipment. So where you're going to carry your magazines. Whether it's a vest, plate carrier, that's all different levels. Something. Which you can get a decent vest for pretty cheap now. And then the training,
And the training goes to the next item. So you get the gear, right? You've got the security, you've got the fence, you've got the right guns, and like you said, the camera. So you're taking care of that. But another area to fail is, and you keep hitting on this all the time, is inadequate tactical skills and those tools to actually apply. And I have those separately because people do just buy gear and don't use it.
Yeah.
So in my mind, there really are two separate things. Mm-hmm. You could be weak in gear, but still know how to apply it. And but there's such big areas in the prepping community. So tactical skills, what would that look like as far as getting started? to prevent yourself from failing.
You have to start with basic safe handling of the firearm, basic marksmanship, so you have to actually be able to hit what you're shooting at, right? So make sure your gun's actually zeroed. That, and then you start getting into individual skills. Knowing how to do a magazine change, how to clear malfunction or stoppage on your pistol or rifle, and then doing it with your gear, and then you get into different drills, whether it's multiple targets, I'm shooting and target transitions, and all that. Then you can start moving to, maybe I set up different, I shoot from this position, I go run to that position, I shoot, and you got to be able to do all that safely. Right. Once you can do all that safely, then I think you move on to your team tactics. Start with with the buddy pairs, 2 guys, and then you 4 guys would be a fire team. And even with that, it's not that complicated. Basic fire team tactics are really simple, and as long as you know how to do this simple stuff, you'll run over people who don't.
If you join us in November on Patreon, that first book in the Preppers Book of the Month Club, first book is going to be focusing on those small unit tactics, and it's good. I think it's going to be very enjoyable, very knowledgeable, but it's going to help with this particular area. Yeah, you hit on 2 key elements. One is the individual skills, right, and the other is group skills. So just because I can shoot, I can draw a pistol, I can change magazines, I can hit the target, but I still need to be able to work with other people.
Yeah.
And it's just different, and you've got to practice that. Not practicing that, and you get 6 or 8 guys, you got your team, you got your food, you got all this stuff, and SHTF comes and there's a mob coming down the street, and you don't know your head from a hole in the ground as far as working with people. You're going to have too many people doing one thing and not enough people doing another thing, and you're going to lose, you're going to fail. So you have to be coordinated as a team, and that actually, when you coordinate as a team, that multiplies your firepower. It's very important. You could be outnumbered, but if you're trained tactically,
especially the other
if
groups,
you're trained tactically, you're going to have the advantage. One of the cities, I think it was Sadr City in Iraq, not first Gulf, when we invaded Iraq in the very beginning, and it was such a one-sided fight. Now, any of you guys over there got some better insight you can share with me. But basically, I think the Marines went in, and the Iraqis, insurgents or whatever, had no tactical skills. Just bravado. I'm gonna attack it. And they're like killing like 1,000 a day. I mean, it was so lopsided that even the Iraqis who were supporting us were like, "Oh, please stop killing our people so badly," And it was, I think it was Sadr City, and that was because the Iraqis did not prepare tactically. They didn't get those skills, and team skills are very important. So that brings us to the 8th reason preppers will fail. And this is for any crisis, but especially for SHTF. And this is one that I'm really big on. An inadequate attitude. If you see trouble and you see failure, when you see trouble, you're going to fail. But when you see trouble and you are looking for and seeing opportunities to succeed, and you're looking for opportunities to be positive, you're much more likely to succeed. If you get negative, if you get depressed, sorrowful, oh my gosh, the government collapsed, I'm not ever going to Starbucks again, I'm going to miss this, I'm going to miss that. People can be like that.
They are.
I'm going to miss all these things. Oh, what am I going to do without, I don't know, you can pick it. What am I going to do without my pumpkin spice latte? That's a tough one. I suggest that you store extra in your prepping kit. But what am I going to do without this? What am I going to do without that? And people will just get depressed. It is something that I've always struggled with, is people that were so tied to this materialistic world that they can't deal with it disappearing for a short time. And
Or even like simple thing like Wi-Fi. People lose Wi-Fi, and I've seen it, right? People,
yeah,
oh, it's emergency. Come on. Most of us were alive before. I remember before Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
You all right?
yeah. So
I don't get great. I'm not going to get great high-speed internet here.
yeah. So inadequate attitude is going to sink people.
Mhm.
You can't think clearly if you got a positive attitude and you just believe you're going to make it. You're going to be looking for ways to make it.
Mhm.
And that attitude is going to be overriding. You're going to see people who, I didn't know it was going to be this bad. I don't, you know? And
Yeah. Nobody knows.
if you start thinking like that, you're going to fail. You have to develop, and it takes that even the attitude. You have to develop this. Catch yourself every time you start thinking thoughts like that. You catch yourself and replace that thought with a positive thought. How will I win? How will I be victorious? How will I survive this? I will survive this. The question is not will I survive. I will survive this. Yeah, even if you don't and you
Why
get
not?
shot,
Yeah.
you know. But okay, but at least you went down with a good positive attitude, you know, and that might have helped someone else. But that inadequate attitude. So, 8 reasons that preppers will fail in SHTF. Poor understanding of the developing situations pre-event. Unbalanced preps. No team. And, we really didn't, a couple of things I want to hit on that. Some people, we really didn't, we talked about where they're at. But there's a reason some people don't get teams, and sometimes they are so focused on their own secrecy, not letting people know I'm a prepper.
Yeah. Can't tell anybody.
Can't tell anyone.
Upset.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
And you know what? You're going to fail.
yeah.
If you're that kind of person, you will fail. You're so secret, and no one will know that you're gone. So you have to reach out. So, poor understanding of developing situation pre-event. Unbalanced preps. No team. No long-term food plan. Didn't develop your skills, your life skills. Inadequate security plan and prep, inadequate tactical skills, and inadequate attitude. 8 reasons. So, keeping in mind those 8 reasons, as preppers, as people part of the strategic prepper team. Strategic means we're looking at the big picture long term. We can look at these, and hopefully you guys will take a look at these, assess where you're at on each of these, and maybe make a course correction. Because any of you guys watching this video, I want you to win when SHTF happens. I want you to be on top. I want you to be successful. And if you assess yourself against this list and you make adjustments, and then you're positive on this list where you're good to go, you are going to be good to go. If you've got those taken care of, you're going to be a winner when the crap hits the fan. And that's what we want. We want you to win. Any parting comments?
Not really. That's about it. Yeah.
All right. So till next time, stay safe and stay prepared.